Hey, YouTube, this Paradios91, or for those of you on fanfiction know me as Luminous107. And right now we will be discussing my most well-known fanfic of all, which is the Yu-Gi-Oh Zexal story called Light of Victory, and its following sequel, Night to Remember. Now, I want to say that this is my most popular story up on the site, but at the same time, I really can't brag. Otherwise, well, I know it's a good story, but whatever. I'm being modest here. Like it's just me being goofy. Um, so yeah, here I bring you a little discussion, a little background information on the story itself, seeing as how that it managed to get a good following, good reviews, except for some which I will get to later on, and the sequel. My God, you guys lost so much shit in the sequel. But in all seriousness, it does warm me up inside. Like, it lets me know that you guys really do care about the stories that I make regarding the characters itself. Even the characters, how I portray them. I'm even shocked that I managed to keep them in character despite things in there happening. It hasn't really happened in the anime, much less the manga. So, with that being said, let's continue on with the discussion. Um, just to give you guys background information, this is what I'm going to be doing for the next few minutes, and this video might be cut down. If I go a little bit overboard, I might have to cut it down and skip for the next video, but for the time being, I'm just going to give you a little background information. It might take a while because it's somewhat of a short story. It's only 17 chapters long, but what does it matter? Okay, I want to let you guys know like how I came up with the story and why. Well, I came up with it one day, after, it was last year, well, earlier this year actually, I came across an article that stated there was going to be a new number card coming, and that number was none other than number 107, Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon. And it made me wonder, like, is Kaito going to use this card? Like, he better use it. It's a Galaxy Eyes card. Like, there's no other way. No one else can use it. But then the Barians came along, and that's when it showed that my Zell was the one using it. And I'm thinking, like, oh great, it's a Barian who's got to use it. Okay, fine. Well, at least Kaito better do something about it. And like, it's a Galaxy as a. If it was Kaiba, Seto Kaiba, on the other hand, like if somebody was using, oh, who am I kidding? It was Joey Wheeler with Red Eyes Black Dragon. But we already know how that happened. But with these two, it seemed a little different, and I wanted to see something different. And we kind of did. I'm glad he acknowledged it. Like when Yuma faced him in the anime, when Yuma faced Myzel in the anime, it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was a pretty good duel. But then it came to the point where Yuma couldn't take it anymore. Then Myzel was gonna win, and then here comes Kaito. Here he comes and he's gonna take care of the whole thing. I'm like, oh, thank God, he's actually gonna do something. He knows what's going on. He's finally gonna take action. He's not gonna be sitting in the sidelines or somewhere in the background and just doing the technical shit, you know, like the shit that he's doing right now. But regardless, and there goes my phone. Like, I'll check it out later. That's just a notification. Myzel, him and Kaito faced each other. They dueled, and it was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, but then came the part where he ranked up number 107, and the duel couldn't go on anymore. Apparently its power was too much, and it broke the Berry Sphere field, and they had to cancel the duel. And they had to continue on. Like, okay, it's not so bad. I guess with them canceling the duel, at least they'll develop a rivalry. At least that will make it more intense. My God, I was wrong. This was not intense, people. Like, I love Zell, but this was not intense. This was boring. This dragged. This fucking dragged. I'm like, oh my God, how many times are these two gonna face each other until one gets defeated and the other takes his Galaxy Eyes card? I mean, seriously, like, how many times did they face each other? Like, there was that time, the first time, when they encountered each other, and there was the second time that he was supposed to face him after he met up with, Kaito met up with Jinla, and then that ended before it even started. And there was a third time when they were on the Sargasso ship, canceled that as well, and we're still waiting on the fourth one, which apparently is gonna be like in, I think, maybe 2-3 more weeks, I'm gonna say. And I kept thinking, this was before these other two duels were done. I kept thinking that, okay, Kaito's gonna defeat my cell the next time they face, and by this point I thought it was the second time that they would face each other. And if they did, Kaito would obviously win. He would win. He'd take number 107. He'd win number 107, I take it. And this story was the interpretation of how I would think Kaito would be like. I don't think he'd be like this if he took control of number 107, because I doubt the number would take control of him. He's already had more than one number under his own possession. I doubt he wasn't even controlled by them, so I don't even think he could be controlled by this. But then again, it is an over 100 card, and it is a Galaxy Eyes card, so it could surprise me. But the fact of the matter is, with the Zell ending, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news in case any of you guys didn't know, it's gonna end, and at this point I don't think it's gonna happen unless they make a storyline based around him, because all we've seen was just the first storyline arc based around Yuma, this whole Barian arc surrounding Shark. Maybe this final season would finally revolve around Kaito. Like, he deserves his own storyline, I'm not gonna lie. But the reason why I came up with this story was because I was getting impatient for these two to face each other. I wanted to explore my own ideas of what could happen should they have already faced each other, and Kaito's already beaten him at this point. I came up with it because it was my own patience, so you could... I was really impatient with the whole thing. Like, I was tired of waiting every Sunday just to see how things would go. So I just decided, like, okay, you know what, fuck this shit. I'm just gonna write down my own interpretation. I'm gonna upload it on fanfiction. Let's see what anybody says. And it was because of that I uploaded the first chapter. And if you guys have seen any of my other fics, you'd know that I love build-up and I love cliffhanger endings, as long as the story continues. And with that being said, I didn't even mention number 107 in general throughout the whole first chapter until the very end, because I didn't want to give it away. Otherwise, you know, that'd be pretty boring and pretty stupid in some way or another. I don't know. I can't pull that off. If you can, kudos. If you guys haven't read the story yet, spoilers. Okay, the first chapter, it involves I'm going to go through this real quick. I'm not going to go through every chapter, all 17 of them. I'm just going to skip ahead or so. Okay, the first chapter, I did it. It involved Kaito in a duel with somebody. He was close to losing. And by some, or as us Yu-Gi-Oh players call it, sacking luck, he managed to win in the end. And he goes home, he's in pain, and he goes to the mirror, and he's holding his heart and everything, to the point where he looks in the mirror, and that's when he finally sees what's causing all the pain, causing him to pass out. And what I wrote down as the cliffhanger ending was the number 107. So that right there should be evidence of what the story is going to be about. If anything, what could happen throughout the rest of the story. Now, after the first chapter, I uploaded it, and I went through a whole week, and nobody seemed to acknowledge it. So I uploaded the second chapter after a while. After the first week, I uploaded the second chapter, and after a few days, I started to think that maybe the story wasn't such a good idea. I mean, I don't think nobody really wants to know about this, because I'm trying to get the story to follow the same way as the anime, the Japanese anime, not the English dub anime, because they're just gonna water it down a little bit. And I'm thinking to myself that maybe readers just don't like the story, because I don't think it's what they want to read. Because keep in mind, when I first did the story, I didn't know what I was gonna do. The whole plot of the story was just to have Kaito go through the trials and tribulations about how to control number 107. I wasn't going to do any romance. I wasn't going to do any build-up of that sort. It was going to be like some kind of like a horror movie, if you will. I wasn't going to put any romance in it, and if I was, it would not be yaoi. Like, before I continue on, I want to point this out right now. I'm not gay, but I'm not homophobic either. So I have nothing against yaoi. I just don't read it. I don't read it. I don't write it. It's not my thing. Okay, we all have preferences, and that's just not one of mine. I don't hate it, because a lot of the Zell archive is filled with yaoi. I don't have a problem with it. I really don't care. And like, if people like it, then that's great for them. It's just not my thing. And that's kind of the other thing that I thought about. Maybe aside from having any of the guys paired up with the girls, I think not many are liking the story because I'm not pairing the guys with the guys either. And oh, great.